What is going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Casual Highlights, where we strive to educate, inform, and inspire while having a conscious and casual conversation about sports. My name is Al High. I am the host. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, share, tell everybody about it. Today, I want to just talk to you a little bit about the Kurtwarner story, the movie that just came out called American Underdog, that talked about, really was about the life of, not the life of Kurtwarner, but just the struggle of how, gotta get comfortable, how he made it to the National Football League at 28 years old and was a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Now, as a sports analysis, a sports commentator, a sports reporter, sports journalist, blah blah woo woo, I need to give you my analysis about this movie. I thought the movie was an excellent job. However, it kind of reminds me, I don't know if you all remember, years back there was this movie called The Prince of Egypt, and in The Prince of Egypt they told the story about Moses as a little boy, Moses growing up, running away because he had killed someone, came back home. His adopted brother was became Pharaoh, and he told Moses, found out who he was, like, hey, let my people go. Anyway, they were able to leave. The people were able to. He was able to lead the people out of captivity, out of Egypt. And then toward the end, I don't know if you remember, he was up in the mountains and got the 10 Commandments, and that was the end. But they didn't tell the story about how Moses and the people were in the wilderness. It was supposed to take it was a 2-week trip, and it took them 40 years in the wilderness. And I felt like, sometimes with movies, it could be incomplete because it doesn't tell the full story. And that's what it is. What it is, and they tell all the important, the good parts of how somebody overcomes and makes it. I get it, motivation, but that's why it's important to go read and go study about people's lives. So this is what it kind of reminded me of a little bit, because this Kurtwarner story, it tells you about how he went to Northern Iowa, became a starter, graduated from Northern Iowa, tried out had to try with the Green Bay Packers, and didn't make it the first day. Was out sacking groceries at Hy-Vee. Talked about the family structure. Talked about how he went to the Arena League, destroyed the records in the Arena League. Got a try with the St. Louis Rams. Was backing up Trent Green, made the team. Trent Green got hurt. Kurtwarner comes in, leads his team to the Super Bowl. They have the Rams have the title, the greatest show on turf. And in his first 4 years as a starter, they win the Super Bowl. And then most people who are younger than me, who are a generation younger than me, I'm a millennial, generation younger than me. I think it's Generation Z, Generation X. No, and then I call my daughter's generation a Charmin generation. I'm gonna let you figure that one out, the Charmin generation. But because I went with my daughter, and so they'll be thinking, oh, that's the end of the story. He wins the Super Bowl, he rides off in the sunset. There was more to this Kurtwarner story. I'm trying to get to it. There was more to this particular story, and I kind of wish they would have like a part 2. For some of you, let me go ahead and educate some of you all. What some of you all do not know is that they did go to the Super Bowl, and he won it his first year as a full-time starter. The next year, they get bounced out of the playoffs by the New Orleans Saints, who got their first ever playoff win against the Rams. Then the following year, the Rams come back, make it to the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots, and lose to the New England Patriots off of the foot of Adam Vinatieri. That started the Patriots dynasty, and back in Super Bowl 36, and the Rams never returned to the playoffs. Kurtwarner was having concussions, was having different injuries. He wasn't right. Oh, by the way, Dick Vermeil, after they won the Super Bowl, resigned as coach. And Mike Martz, the one who gave him all that grief, became the head coach. Then about a year or two later, while Kurt Warner was still with the Rams, Kurt Warner got benched for Mark Bolger, and Mark Bolger took over. And then the Rams released Kurt Warner, and then he was off to New York. And then Eli Manning got drafted, so he was 4-1 as a starter, and then they brought Eli Manning in to be the quarterback. So he didn't make it that long in New York. And then he goes to Arizona. Kurt Warner's backing up Matt Leinart, and because he was trying to get Matt Leinart ready. All of a sudden, I think if I'm not mistaken, Matt Ryan got hurt, so they put Kurt Warner in, and Kurt Warner started winning games, and this team makes it to the Super Bowl. And they make it to the Super Bowl, and they were about 2 minutes and 22 seconds away from winning it. And Super Bowl 43, Santonio Holmes catches a game-winning pass from Ben Roethlisberger in the corner of the end zone for the Pittsburgh Steelers to beat the Arizona Cardinals. So I love the story of American Underdog. I think it talked about the family. It talked about the struggles, what Kurt Warner had to overcome, how he had to grow up and become a man, how he took his wife Brenda, how he took her 2 children in as his own. But the story does not end after he won his first Super Bowl. In life, one thing we need to understand is in life we're going to have ups and downs and trials and tribulations. His Super Bowl just was not the ride off into the sunset. There was still trials and things that he had to overcome to get to where he was at today. Now he spent 12 years in the league, went to 3 Super Bowls. I think, I'm not mistaken, he did win an MVP 1 or 2 years. Was an All-Pro several years running, and he really went from that Super Bowl. People forgot about him. There was a time people forgot about. Oh man, well he was in the St. Louis Rams offense. He was in that particular system. He can't. Kurt Warner can't be the same Kurt Warner that he was before. He can't do what he did before. He can't do that. And he had to prove the naysayers wrong. And to go to Arizona, and the goal for him was to be a backup, and to come in and pretty much rejuvenated and revived his career, took Arizona to heights they had never been before. The Arizona Cardinals used to be the St. Louis Cardinals, by the way. Then they went to Phoenix, and then they became Arizona. And they were god-awful, and took them to heights they had never been to before. Everybody rallied around Kurt Warner in that team, and that team went to the Super Bowl and almost won it. And so there's always one thing that we need to learn, is there's always more to a story. There's always more things that we need to read and understand about a life of somebody. That Super Bowl that he won, Super Bowl 34, was not the last of Kurt Warner. Man, after that, his career, it was like up here, and he was all over the place. He was in different magazines, on the Wheaties news box, and then after they lost to New England, it just took this like dip, and we didn't hear about him. Then all of a sudden, before his career ends, he's going back up. And in life, one thing we need to learn from this, as we have this conscious conversation right now, you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have valleys and pits. But how do we learn from those valleys and those pits? How do we learn from it? How do we overcome? And one thing that in the movie, it talked about how he didn't give up. He could have gave up. He didn't have to take Brenda's kids as his own in his life. He could have forgot about it. But it shows you about love. It shows you about not giving up. It shows you about the valleys and the peaks. You might be at your lowest point. But what are you going to do at your lowest point? Are you going to stay where you're at that lowest point? Or are you going to rise to the occasion? Many of y'all who are watching this right now have highlights that you're supposed to create, and you feel like you might be stuck in a particular pit. But I need you to go watch the movie American Underdog, and then go read about Kurt Warner. He is now a Hall of Fame quarterback, because yes, in his career did this. It wasn't like anybody, like a regular quarterback, like Tom Brady. Tom Brady had 6 Super Bowl rings. I mean, the man, 7. Lord have mercy. Forgive me, Tom Brady. I'm sorry about that. He has 7 Super Bowl rings over a 20-year career. Might be getting number 8, possibly. The verdict is still out on that. But it's how even Brady had valleys and obstacles that he had to go through. But this man wasn't even drafted, went to a 1AA college, and had to And that man literally got it from the mud. So, whatever you're believing in life to do, don't give up. You will have valleys, you will have some good days and bad days, but the question is, are you going to give up? And Kurtwarner and his story is a great example about being a underdog. Nobody thought that this man could do it. Then they thought that he was washed up after New York and that he was just going to be a backup the rest of his career. And he revitalized his career and took his talents to a different level. And took the Cardinals to three, if I'm not mistaken, took them to 3 playoff appearances in 3 years. Unbelievable. But as far as the movie, I love the movie. The movie was excellent. Definitely take your family to go see it. You got to go see it. Right? I mean, I watched this back in December, so now I'm just giving this review. But when it comes out on DVD, or it should be still in theaters, go check it out. American Underdog. I give this movie rating a 2 thumbs up. My name is Al High. Thank you for tuning in today. Tell me what you thought. If you watched the movie, tell me what you thought of it. Remember, do not give up. Remember, God is love, and disrespect your senses.